How's it going? I'm Wil Sitarz. I'm out here in the Lyons, Colorado, but I live kind of in between Estes Park and Lyons in the Pinewood Springs area. I'm the owner and creator of a video production company that I called 80AVisuals. The number 80, the letter A, and the word visuals. And yeah, I guess I'm here to talk about myself in the Colorado area.
Love it, man. I'd say that's a sweet intro, man. I
You
appreciate
like it? You like it?
even you just I dig it. I appreciate you even just hanging out with me and talking about 80A visuals and all that good stuff. I was looking at all of your websites, Instagram stuff, and everything you post is quality stuff. So I'm really excited to have you on here. And especially going from like the Drake Sitars. I have his episode coming up at the time of this recording tomorrow. So really excited to hear his and what he thinks of it. So really excited to get you on here, a fellow Sitars brother on the podcast. So stoked on it, man. So I guess initially, like in order for people to get to know you a little bit more, where did you grow up and maybe a quick series of events that led you to the Denver area?
Sure, yeah. I wouldn't say it's a quick series of events that led me here, but I was born in Chicago, Illinois, and we moved down to a little farm town, middle of nowhere, when I was really young in a place called Wilmington, Illinois. And so we just grew up there. What brought me to Colorado was when I turned 18, I joined the Air Force. And I was stationed out in Spokane, Washington, and just loved it out there. And while I was in the military, I started a family when I was really young. So I moved back to Wilmington after the Air Force, and ever since then, I wanted to go back to not Colorado. I wanted to go back to the mountains. So I wanted to go snowboarding. I wanted to go skateboarding. In farmtown Wilmington, there isn't a whole lot of that, obviously. So 9 years later, my family moved out here to, where did we move to? We moved to Louisville. I got a job in Boulder, working there for like pharmaceutical companies, for calibrating stuff out, calibrating like electronics and stuff like that. And then just kind of moving around a little bit from there, moved to Frederick. The housing market went through the roof. So we cashed out after 2 years living in Frederick, and now we're here in the Pinewood Springs, close to Estes Park and Lyons. So it's just, we got our dream home. It's beautiful out here. I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, it seems like you're very tied to either the wilderness or just being out there and not necessarily within the city. So from Spokane, and I noticed some of your Instagram pictures or videos as well. You have some time over in the Idaho area as well. So I know Spokane's pretty close to Coeur d'Alene, and I find that to be a beautiful place as well. I haven't been there myself, but it's a fantastic looking place. Yeah.
Oh, it is. Coeur d'Alene. Yeah. The Idaho, that whole western Idaho is just gorgeous. That's where, I didn't go to college right away. I joined the Air Force. So like kind of my college years while I was in the military was there in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, and just exploring that area as a, young airman. It was just so fun. I just have such fond memories of that place. And I love going back. I'm actually going back, at the end of the month. We're going to do another shoot for the Seattle Seahawks. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. Just any opportunity to go back to Washington State and just see my old friends. It's awesome. It's such a blast.
Yeah, with Spokane being on the very far east side of Washington, and Seattle Seahawks, I assume, is in Seattle. I mean, that's quite a bit of ways to travel. Would you drive that, or would you fly there?
No, well, actually, you could do both. It's about a 3-hour drive from Spokane to Seattle, so it's not terrible. You can get up early in the morning and be there by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock.
Gotcha.
So it's not terrible at all.
Yeah, me being from the San Diego area, I'm so used to like 8-hour drives from San Diego to the Bay Area or Santa Cruz or something like that. And
oh yeah,
a 3-hour drive,
like that.
that's almost like that's almost like a trip to work. It's almost pretty normal to me.
Yeah. It's a piece of cake. It's not bad at all.
No joke. And, like coming from the Chicagoland area, I mean, Drake definitely put in some work on like his favorite or like top 5 favorite pizza places in the Denver area or even the Front Range area. Him being a pizza guy himself, and it's not, you're smiling right now, and I could tell that like maybe you can relate to that with like him, Drake being Drake. You know, he's very passionate about his food and things like that. But I know like maybe Denver has some catching up to do in the food space. But is there anything like that really keeps you in the Front Range? Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, food out here. Like I love Denver biscuit. I love, yeah, like they got this fried chicken with like an egg and then like a biscuit. So it's like a sandwich, and then they pour like gravy over it. It's like
Damn.
amazing. It's so good. So anytime I'm in Denver, I try to make a stop at Denver biscuit. I'm not exploring the food world out here. It's just kind of whatever comes to me. I love the Mexican food out here as opposed to what's in Chicago. That's what I noticed. Is like, I never paid attention to Mexican food before. It's all just kind of the same to me. But coming out here, it's so good. So anytime we go out, it's like, let's just go to a Mexican restaurant because the food is insane. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because, coming from Chicago to Denver, you have that sort of like hatch green chili situation.
I never even heard of that before. I didn't know what that was.
No joke. And then me, like coming from San Diego, like that's almost all I ate. I mean, that was the drunk food I ate. I would have it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I would not get tired of burritos, And then coming to Denver, it's a little bit of a different situation. It's you got to find your proper Mexican food places, at least personally, whether it's like food trucks or like certain restaurants. Like not everyone's a gem, but there are certain ones that I know, and I would go to those ones without a doubt for sure.
Oh yeah, like so many people have their favorite food truck, And since I'm kind of like hanging out in the wilderness most of the time, I don't have the opportunity to explore that world. But yeah, I know they're everywhere, and I know that just people out here love the food trucks. That's a huge staple.
Yeah, and it's great that they could just go to these breweries and like, wow, it's right there in front of the place. I love it.
yeah, that's cool, man. That's a cool setup out here, just the way everything is, especially coming from Illinois. It's such a different culture. Yeah, everyone's outside, everyone's out and about. Like I always joke around, and when you come from a little Midwest town, you see an adult man on a bike, and more than likely the situation is he legally cannot drive anymore because he made some poor decisions behind the wheel. We're out here in Colorado, people are on their bikes because they want to be on bikes. It's totally different. It's so active out here, and I really like that about this place.
I love it, man. No, that's a really good, accurate presentation too. And I have not met more beautiful people per capita than here in Denver. Like they take care of themselves here.
Oh, we're talking physically, yeah.
For sure. But yeah, dude, I mean, like it's a whole different beast out here and a whole different culture. And going into the business portion of it, I mean, 80AVisuals and how you started it. I know after looking at doing a whole bunch of research on what you guys do and everything like that, it's a really good business to even start, and the stuff that you make is also beautiful itself. So I want to tell people about the world. I want to tell the world about this stuff, or at least the Denver community. So what even sparked the idea of to even start a videography business?
Oh man. So I've always loved just being behind a camera and editing ever since, I got my first camera, like a little Sony Handycam. Probably when I was like 15. My grandpa bought me this camera. I'm not even sure why he bought it for me, but it's kind of the perfect storm. So back when I was 15 years old, I discovered the world of like skateboarding, and I met some other kids in the neighborhood that also skated, and I got this camera. And then also, what are we watching on like MTV back in 1999? It's Jackass, right? So
right.
so they're skateboarders, and they're just always bullshitting around, like just trying to make each other laugh with this camera. So like that's what we did, man. We rode around town on our boards trying to like be good, and we'd make dumb little movies. And my friends were also in bands, and so we'd shoot little dumb music videos and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
and that's just something that's always like carried over. Like, so when I joined the military, I was 18 and I got sent out to Spokane. I kept up with skating, like I just get off work. It's just like a normal 9 to 5 and I'm going to go to the skate park. And, I met some guys down there and, they had their camera in their hand. They're always filming stuff, So the filming just never went away. And, I have a stepbrother. His name's Richard. He lives out in Phoenix right now. And, him and I grew up together and we were always filming. And he loves editing. That's one thing I noticed is that like when we would do these little stupid movies and stuff, he would just spend hours editing. And then what came out of it was just like, oh my gosh, like how did you even do this? Like I was not expecting this to look good. We were just messing around and this looks phenomenal, So
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, he came down and visited me in Colorado. He actually moved out to California right when my family moved to Colorado. And he's just like, you know what? I'm going to quit my job and I'm just going to do editing full time. And I was just like, dude, do it, man. You're so good. You're so meticulous. Like he has a billionaire's work ethic, this guy. And he's doing that. And then during that time, my wife started her own business where she's working and she has her own clinic. It's called Side by Side Nutrition. And she started out with like one client she started out with like one employee and then now this is like it keeps building and now she needs a second one and a third one and a fourth one. Now all of a sudden she needs an office and we're kind of watching this business kind of blow up. We're like, oh my gosh, like what is happening? Now she has 2 offices, now 3 offices. Now she's got 5 of them with like 15 employees. And during this time, I'm kind of supporting the family. I'm an electrician. I got my degree in electrical automation. So, I'm just kind of like a blue collar worker, I'm just making enough to enjoy our lives, just like everybody else. So, so her business is blowing up and she's just like, yeah, well, you can do whatever you want now. Like if you don't want to be an electrician anymore, like, and at the time, I really wasn't enjoying my job. I was kind of working by myself and it's just, I don't know. So I started thinking about it, I'm like, I've never had this opportunity before. I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. Like, I know skateboarding. So like, would I own a skate shop? Well, that sounds stupid, right? Like talk to any skate shop owner. They'll probably tell you like, yeah, don't do it. So, I was just thinking about it. I'm like, man, I love being behind the camera. My brother out in California loves the editing part, So maybe we can make something with that. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be a videographer. That's what I'm going to do. So my wife gave me her credit card. She's just like, buy whatever you need. So, and that's behind me right over there. Like just tons of equipment, like $20,000 worth of equipment, And,
yeah,
it's a big responsibility too. Like when you're handed 20 grand, like, all right, get what you need. It's just like, I better do some research. Like this is a big responsibility. It's fun, but it's like, I better know what I'm doing. So, yeah, I thought, okay, I'm going to start doing video. So like, how do you even start doing that? So I don't know. I started listening to some podcasts and they're kind of explaining like how to get clients and like, you got to do some free work just to show future clients, this is what I can do. And this is what I can provide to you, visually with editing and everything. So it's kind of cool how it worked out because, I started reaching out to some friends and I started, there's a couple, like skateboard events that I filmed and edited. And during that time, my stepbrother, we would just Zoom call almost every day and he would teach me how to do, like work Adobe Premiere. Cause that software is not super intuitive. It's not terrible, but, we kind of became each other's like checks and balances, so like I'd send him an edit. So before I even send it to a client, I send it to him. Like, what do you think? And he's meticulous. He's like, change this. And I'm just like, okay, you know, and then he'd send me his edits, and they're always awesome. So there's not much to say.
Pristine. Yeah.
They're pristine, man.
I mean,
So
yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, I guess like before we try, I guess like go too far away from the skating scene. I mean, I know that like you see those old or I guess older skate videos of like Chad Muska or you know, even Tony Hawk. Like even with Tony Hawk Pro Skater, I grew up with that game, and it's funny. Like I was looking at this old video with like, you know, these skateboarders that I would play all the time on Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and little did I realize that they actually have personalities in real life. You know, it's not that they just have the dark slide on Tony Hawk Pro Skater. You know,
right?
They actually had a life and they had a following. You know, and some of these guys were legends. And I'm curious, like, how much you followed that, or were you looking at like fisheye lenses? Were you looking at things that were mainly skating prevalence, or were you filming other things at the same time? I mean, maybe even Jackass related, right?
Well, growing up, like when I got my first camera, like I didn't care about that. I didn't care about like what lens I had or anything like that. It's just like, here's a camera, let's just film funny stuff, you know, make each other laugh. But like obviously, when you start your own video production company, like that all matters a ton. And to be honest, like I love skating. I will always love it. But that's not what I'm pursuing at all. Like I don't care to film that stuff. It's fun, but it's just not, it's not something to chase. There's no money in it. You know, skateboarders don't make money.
Sure.
They just don't. That's just like the sad truth. They used to make a ton of money. But with Instagram and social media, it's just completely changed, you know? So that became just everything to me. Like, you know, being 16 years old, growing up in Farmtown, Illinois, you know, it's just, you know, football and baseball and sports, and which I love. I'm pretty athletic, you know, and I love doing that stuff, but like I always had a problem with organized sports. Like I didn't get along with anyone on the team, you know, like they're all jerks, honestly, you know, and they didn't like me, and it's just like it didn't go well. So finding skating was just like I found skating and punk music and Jackass and Tom Green, and like it all just kind of hit me all at once, and I love it all. You know, I was just completely invested in that, reading the magazines, buying the VHS tapes, popping them in, you know, and even like with the personalities, like, oh yeah, just I'd read Tony Hawk books, like, you know, like autobiographies and stuff like that. So yeah, I was just totally obsessed with it. And one guy who's really inspired me is Spike Jonze, because if you know anything about Spike Jonze, is he started out filming BMX and he started out filming skate videos, but he also filmed like the Beastie Boys music videos. He did, I forgot, he did a video with Christopher Walken where he's just like dancing around a mall or something like that. And then he's an Oscar-winning director on top of that, you know? So this dude started out as a little skate rat filming BMX and skating, and now he's this director and Oscar winning, and his movies are amazing. And like this is the guy that just jumped on any opportunity he could, and just he fell in with the right people. And I think when you do that, I think when you're a genuine person and you're an authentic person, you're gonna find more authentic people, and it's like it's just gonna that just builds and builds and builds, and you just that's the way you meet the right people. And so that guy's a big inspiration to me for sure.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I don't want to say that you, I guess, strayed away from the skate scene, because you still do a couple of videos like event promos and just a lot of good material, like just doing skate retreats. I forgot what, I don't even know like the general term for it, but Camp Good Buddy was an awesome video that I saw over on your website.
Oh, thank you.
And it looks like such a good time, man. Everyone's just hanging out in the middle of nowhere. You got quarter ramps, you got half pipes. It's so sick over there. So maybe just tell the audience a little bit about like, what is Camp Good Buddy? Are they having it again? And how did you even get in contact with the founder to do this video?
Yeah, so pretty much there's a guy in Colorado. He runs a website called Speakeasy, and he goes from skate park and documents it, and he puts up like a nice little video that just shows, the rest of the world, like what's going on at the skate park, and it gives like the full details, like do they have lights on at night, or are helmets required, stuff like that. And so I hit him up. I'm like, you do pretty cool stuff, and I'm looking just to create like a couple edits. Like, do you wanna? Can I make an edit or interview you and stuff like that? And he's like, well, I'm not really interested in that, but I am putting on an event. So he put on an event in Aurora. So I went and filmed and edited that, and then all the guys there just like, hey, there's another event coming up called Camp Good Buddy. You should film that one too. So I was just like, okay, great. And so I just kind of showed up. like it's funny when you're older, when you're an older guy and you're approaching these younger people and you have a video camera, like no one really asks questions, So that's kind of it, to be honest. So I show up to the event, and I knew a couple people from the previous event. I'm like, yeah, I'm filming, whatever. And it was cool because my edit was kind of in competition with another filmer that came out. He flew out with his pro skateboarder, Andy Roy. And he's like Andy Roy's personal filmer and stuff. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to compete with this guy. So like my edit, I'm going to blow this dude out of the water. Like, I just know I am, So he showed up, and I met all those guys. And then I met the owner of Camp Good Buddy. He had no idea who I was. I was like, hey, I'm Will. I'm filming this. And he's just like, okay. I'm like, let's go do some interviews. He's like, okay, cool. So I filmed the interviews, everything. And when you got a camera and you're filming these events, you just kind of have to get in the middle of it and not care if you get in the way, not care if anyone knows, like just act like you belong there. Yep. And no one's going to say anything. And that's like kind of the rule of life, is just act like you belong, have some freaking confidence, and good things are going to happen, And I'm not even saying like fake it till you make it, because I know what I'm filming is going to be amazing. And I know whoever's going to watch it is going to be like, I never expected anything close to this. And that's a good feeling, So
yeah, and where was this? Because this place was so beautiful and pristine. It was in Colorado still, yeah.
Yeah, it was up in Drake, Colorado. So that's like, I think that's like 20 minutes northeast of Estes Park. So I drove to Loveland, and like once you get into Loveland, you just kind of take these little back mountain roads until you reach this camp. There's all kinds of camps out here, especially in the Estes Park area. There's just all kinds of little ranches. So Camp Good Buddy was actually renting out this, or like kind of leasing this property, and so they don't own it. And so it was actually at Sky Corral Ranch is the name of the ranch that they're kind of, but they let them build these like huge ramps and all this stuff. It was really cool.
Saw that because
let them do that.
There were rails and ramps even on like the tennis court. I mean, like,
oh, dude,
the whole place was just decked out for skaters. It was cool.
Oh, dude, it was an event. It was just awesome. So yeah, I felt really lucky to be a part of that and just to film such talented skateboarders. That's the coolest part about it. It's just like, these are locals. There's this dude named Brian Chapo. He's a Native American guy from Albuquerque, and he is just a ripper. He just doesn't miss. He doesn't mess up. So just filming him and then filming another guy. I can't remember his name. But man, they're just so talented. So it was just a blast. Yeah, it's just a blast to put together, and just a fun experience overall.
That's cool. And like, not even the event space, but you also do businesses too. Like I noticed you do some work still in the skating realm, but like DB Skate Designs. I forgot his name, but he does woodworking and custom designs for the decks. Yeah. And it was funny, like his story when I watched through the video. It was all about him starting the business from the first stimulus check when COVID happened, you know?
Right.
It's funny how many people or how many local businesses really took advantage of that stimulus check and were like,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm out of a job. I can't be a server anymore in this COVID area. I might as well just bet on myself and start my own business. I mean, it's amazing that people are doing this stuff. You know, I love the, like, I'm betting on myself. I can't trust anyone else. I might as well just go for it. This is the time to do it. You know, it's cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just bet on yourself, man. Like I just seeing my wife start her own business from the ground up, and it's just like, wow, it's a lot of work, but it's so achievable. Like, just do it, man. Just always bet on yourself. Yeah, Dale, he's an Army veteran, actually. So we clicked pretty well, and yeah, he does really cool stuff, and he's pretty successful, like, on social media, and yeah, he's just a sweet guy. So just interviewing him was just really comfortable, and he has such a cool story, and, you know, he's got, you know, PTSD from his deployments and stuff like that. So, like, I understand, like, his world of, like, I have to skate. Like, like, I literally have to do this for my mental health. You know, it's like taking medicine. Like, I can't not do this, you know, and I totally understand that. I really do. Yeah. So his story was really cool. And I think that edit turned out really well. I've had a lot of businesses say, "Oh, I watched the DB skate. Now I want to hire you." So that was a good one to do, because I mean, I'm filming him, and I'm like, this is bringing me to tears right now, because he's so open and honest in his interview, and I was just like, he did such a good job. Yeah, I love that edit.
Yeah, so raw, and I didn't even know that about him, man. That just, and that's the thing with, like, even with interviews like this and getting to know the face or the person behind the business, if it's a solo practice or you got a couple of co-founders, I mean, people don't know the face or the person behind it, you know? So getting an interview and getting the podcast and having people open up to be like, hey, this is my story. This is how I came to be. People can really relate to that stuff, you know? Like, hey, this guy's working hard. And, you know, you're bringing it to the next level. So I'm glad that, you know, you're able to capture that with Dale.
Yeah, but even capturing that with Dale, but, like, every business owner has that story. Like, no one starts a business and it's easy. You know, everyone has their personal reasons for starting this business. Like, there's these special qualities about their business. There's these struggles about their business, and any successful business you see has a story like that, where there is struggle and there is, like, can this happen? Can this really happen? And then it finally does. And it's just amazing. Like, these business owners go through so much. So, like, I know every one of them has a story to tell. And that's kind of, like, what I really love about, I guess, like creating these promotional videos for themselves, is because, like, it is special, it is unique, and it is worth telling. So I love to be able to provide that for my clients, where, you know, I did an edit for a promotional video for Untitled Dance Studios, and I went on to approach her. Her name's Joanne, and she runs Untitled Dance Studios in Frederick. You know, I was just kind of talking to her about it, and, like, yeah, it'd be cool to get, like, some dance shots and some interviews and stuff like that. But it's like, once I dove into that, like, this studio, and, like, I got interviews of the girls who are, you know, the students, and just hearing their story and hearing the struggles and just hearing, like, how special this place is to them. Like, it was so cool. And then to be able to throw that together, and then I showed Joanne, I'm like, okay, Joanne, here's the edit, you know, and it brought her to tears. Her students were brought to tears, you know, and at the end of the shoot, she gave me this big hug. Like, this was so fun. Thank you so much. So it's just, like, it's such a rewarding feeling to come into these people's home, essentially, and give them this, I don't know, it's just kind of a gift. It's like I know that they're paying me to do it, but, like, it's just a cool, like, it's just cool. Like, I can make these people look like rock stars, essentially. And they are. They absolutely are. you know,
Yeah.
100%. And then I can provide that and give them this, like, this is what you are, man. Like, you are this cool. You are this good, you know?
Yeah.
It's just,
It's funny,
yeah.
Yeah, they see themselves as one way. Like looking at yourself in the mirror is, one way, like, like it's almost like they compare their own blooper reels with other people's highlight reels,
Oh
They
my
never
gosh.
see
Absolutely.
they never see their own highlight reel, and
Right.
you're there to capture it as if someone else was looking at them and capturing that highlight reel. It's all these girls like dancing and just dancing their heart out and playing or performing their hearts out. You're capturing that and you're making almost like a photo album for them. So it's very emotional what you're doing at the same time.
It is. It absolutely is.
That's another reason why people love just like getting that captured and, having a professional edit this stuff. There's no way they would be able to capture it like on their own,
No.
So
there's no way.
It's a good thing what you're doing, man. It's cool.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, there's one more story about this, especially with this dance studio. I remember these girls were just, you can tell how much time they put into this. I'm a father of a 14-year-old girl, so like, I have a heart for these kids. And I can just see how hard they're working and like how much time and effort they put into this and to these routines. And it's such they're so, I don't know, it's a skill, but like that work. But I remember like this girl, she's wearing her shoes are little like dance ballerina slippers or whatever. Yeah. She's got like a hole in her toe, so her toe is just like dangling out. And it just like, it really just emphasized the work ethic that these kids are putting in. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Like just the wear and tear. And yeah, it's just awesome. So yeah, it's just a really cool experience.
That is really cool. And it's cool, like what you also capture. I mean, from like these big old events in over at Camp Good Buddy, and then DB Skate Designs, you got something a little bit more small business friendly. And then I noticed also that you have like music videos, more specifically with Fur Trader, the artist. And it's almost like you really are following Spike Jonze's footsteps, man, like going through everything that he was capturing as well. So I guess like tell about your experience with like even the music video portion of it, because I guess I take it for granted like how much I love watching the visual with the audio nowadays, because I was watching it so much back with like Fuse or like MTV, and I forget that like it's no longer here on YouTube. Like I there's so many other things that I have to do, and I have to prioritize other things. But after watching those music videos that you were putting on, it really brought it back. Like, okay, there's still a scene for this stuff, So what was that like working with Fur Trader and like just doing music videos?
Oh, I love shooting music videos. And this is a good time for like my stepbrother who is out in Arizona right now. This is when we collaborate, right? Because he specializes in these motion graphics and like these heavy effects. I'm more about going out and getting clients, and I can set up an edit for him, but he'll really take it home with these edits. So, and I love collaborating with him. Like when you can collaborate with a friend and family member that you have, common interests with, like that's what it's all about, man. It's just, there's so much. Yeah. It's awesome. So anyways, working with Fur Trader, he's another Chicago transplant. He went out to Los Angeles, and this is kind of my tie into the music scene out there in Los Angeles, so growing up, one of my friends who we did movies with and skated with and played music with, he ended up becoming a pretty successful music producer. So he's out in Los Angeles right now doing albums for like, I guess the older bands, like kind of like washed up. I don't know if they're washed up, but like Blink-182 and like Avril Lavigne. What else is he doing? He does like pop music now. So he just does a lot of pop music. So at the time, my brother, the editor, was living with him. And so they're kind of tied into the music scene out there. So my brother Richard had done a couple music videos for him already, but I had just got all this gear, and I was like, hey, I can contribute to to these videos you're doing, you know, like we can make something very cinematic and very like, if MTV still played music videos, it would be on MTV, you know? So I actually drove out to California, drove out to Los Angeles. I'd never even been there before. From Colorado to LA. It was like a 16-hour drive. I loaded up my car with all the gear, and he had rented an Airbnb at the Joshua Tree National Park, like that area. And it's just basically the desert. That area is super cool. I never realized that, like, if you watch like old Looney Tunes cartoons, like I'm pretty sure they base it off the desert, like the California desert out there. That's where they made those cartoons. And like so many movies have been filmed out there. Like I'm like, dude, I recognize this place. Like, holy cow, it was so cool. So we rented an Airbnb in the desert, and I had all my gear, and we got there at about 11 o'clock in the morning, and we just started filming, and it was super hot out. I felt like crap just being in the desert. So like, I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to do this. And like all my video equipment started overheating like immediately. Oh, yeah. Like the camera's like, nope, can't do it. I'm like, oh no. So I was a little nervous, you know, cause I just drove 16 hours. So I just wasn't rested at all. And then I'm here in the desert and just feeling awful. And, you know, but it's kind of on me to make sure we get all the shots and everything. You know, it's kind of do or die, you know, either make it happen or go home. Like that's not an option, right? So
that's right.
So yeah, I started filming, walking around in the desert. There's like rattlesnake holes everywhere. We were like hearing little like, so we're just like,
yeah,
like I hope no one gets bit, you know. There were some weird neighbors like yelling at us for something. I don't know. Like it was kind of sketchy, like being around like desert people. And so yeah, we filmed up until we actually knocked it all out in one day. So we filmed up to one in the morning, right? And they wanted to film until the sun went down, but I told them, I'm like, no, like I got this lighting, like we need to film at night too. We need a day shot and a night shot, and I got this lighting that's gonna, you know, kind of blow you guys away. And it did. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how, and then like once he started editing, he's just like, I can't believe how good this is. It's so awesome, you know? So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So it turned out really good. I didn't edit that one. Richard ended up editing it, but I did all the filming for it. And it's just, when you do stuff like that, it reminds me, like, it's such a connection, like even to a client or a stranger I don't know, like, when you collaborate on a project like that, like it's just a bond. It's just an instant bond between that you and the person, you know, and it's just such a cool experience. And it's even more rewarding when you get called back, you know, like I did an edit for Sterlini Coffee, this new coffee shop that opened up in Frederick. And I came in there and, you know, we set everything up. I did the promo for them. It's like 1 minute long, like kind of like a commercial, and they loved it. I was like, cool. And then, you know, so I always, you know, you build a friendship out of that. Honestly, it is a friendship. And, you know, you hit them up like, hey, like, hope you're doing well. Let me know if you have any more video stuff coming up. And then it's like, yeah, actually we do. Come on down. We'll talk about it. So I got something in the works with them. They're doing like a canned martini drink, and I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that, but they're doing a special project and they want to do like a lifestyle video, which is what I love, right? Like, I feel like I kind of understand the Colorado culture and how to make a lifestyle video, just working with lifestyle brands like the Pacific Northwest right here. And so that's kind of what I always throw to them is like, let's do a lifestyle video. Let's take your new drink and let's film what the local Colorado people love to do. So you have that connection with the community, because that's what a business wants. You know, a business wants a connection with the community. If you have no connection with the community, you don't have anything. You really don't. I don't care how cool your shirt is. I don't care how cool your hat looks. I don't care how good your food is. Like, well, maybe not food. You know, if your food's good, people are going to come. But But like if you're not connected with the community, you don't have anything. If you're not relatable, you don't have anything. And I have had clients like that where it's just like, yeah, I can make something awesome for you, but you need to work on that connection. You as a business needs to make sure what you're putting out is understandable. It makes sense. That's not vague. You can't have that as a business. You can't have some vague message. It's not going to click with anybody. So I think these lifestyle videos are really important for these businesses. Like how do I incorporate what I'm selling with the people of Colorado? So with this, go ahead.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it makes a lot of sense that having these lifestyle shots, I mean, now that you mentioned it, like I almost take it for granted whenever I watch these promo videos or commercials even of like, built Ford tough. And they're going up the mountains, like 4x4, things like that. Like, you got to relate to the people, but you got to have an awesome product to make sure that those people buy your product,
Right.
So you can only lead a horse to water, right?
That's it, man.
With all that being said, I mean, it seems like a lot of the companies that you're working with, it's almost like you vet them a little bit more, or at least maybe you vet them when you meet them in person after all these emails or after all the phone calls and things like that. And when you meet them in person, sure, you do the work for them, but like maybe what kind of vetting do you do with the company or the business to make sure that like, okay, this is going to be a good chemistry, good fit. We understand each other's like responsibilities and things like that. What makes you want to work with a certain client versus others?
Well, to be honest, I'm not going to say no to a client. If they want to pay me to shoot a video for them, I'm going to do it. And I know I can find something with their personality, with what they're selling. That's what kind of takes some time, is to get on that same level and like understanding like, okay, this is what you want. This is what the video's for. Sometimes they don't know what the video's for. They know like, they know it's important to make a video. Like every business knows video is extremely important, and the best businesses out there have the best video. So I've had a client with absolutely no following, right? And I'm not going to, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus or anything like that, because he's a great person. But they're like, I'm going to hire you and you're going to make these videos and you're going to, this is going to get my following. I'm going to build followers. And, they had this impression that like,
you were the silver bullet getting them into the market.
I'm the silver bullet. And their personality is going to really shine through, and they're kind of, it's kind of a vanity project that they think people are going to jump on. And it's just like, it doesn't work that way, Just because you have video doesn't mean you're going to blow up. And just because you have something that looks really cinematic doesn't mean people are going to pay attention. Like you have to have that connection with the community, like I was saying. And this is a great tool. This is something you're going to need, but this isn't going to be, this is just one ingredient in the recipe, and some people don't realize that. Some businesses don't know what all the ingredients are to get to where they need to get to, and sometimes the rest of their ingredients suck.
Yeah. You got to make sure that you got some good stuff before you promote that stuff on like advertising, marketing, and all that.
You kind of have to have a game plan.
Yeah. And it makes sense too. Like I know we were talking about this a little bit earlier, and I myself am a realtor, and I know like I have my niche. I have a certain type of person that I would love to work with. I'll work with anyone, but honestly, there's a certain type of person or a certain type of clients that like, okay, you are my ideal clients, and this is the type of video that I'm producing for, Right. So I guess, I know you do some real estate marketing as well. And let's say other people that are listening to this, I know a lot of investors or agents that are listening to this as well. Do you have any stories in that regard, or like what type of videos do you, I guess, have seen work over time, or maybe the person really shines through with a certain type of listing video or something like that? What experience do you have with working with real estate agents in that regard?
Yeah. So, I've worked with, I know a real estate videographer who kind of he started bringing me on some shoots when I first started this, and he just keeps calling me back. You know, he really likes my editing a lot. He likes my filming, so he's more of a photographer than a videographer. So he does these luxury homes, and he used to work. When I was doing that more, it was for Sotheby's. It's like a luxury homes real estate group. Or
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so he'd call me up and it's like, okay, we got to shoot out at this $3 million mansion out in like by Mount Evans. And where did we go? The first one we did was in Evergreen. So we went out there, we met up with the realtor, kind of went over the game plan, and just started shooting inside these beautiful homes. Oh my gosh, they're just incredible. The first video we did, or the first shoot I did for real estate was a really funny one where the person who owns the home should not be there. They need to kind of get out of the house and let the photographer and the videographer do their thing, right?
For sure.
Well, this gentleman decided to stay behind, and he did not like that we were there in the first place. It was really strange. And so we're filming the house, and like maybe every 15 minutes he'd walk up to us and be like, "Hey, you guys almost done?" And I'm like, "No, we're not. Like, we're trying to sell your house, dude." Like, why do you want us to leave? Like, we're trying to sell your house so you can get out of here. Like, that's the whole point of this, right? So I told him, like, yeah, maybe we got a couple hours, you know? So a couple hours goes by, and I hear this guy in the background in like a completely different room screaming at the top of his lungs. They said 2 hours. They said they were going to get out of here, and they're not gone yet. And which obviously makes it very, very uncomfortable. So I go to my buddy. I'm like, dude, should we get out of here? Like, what do you think? He's just like, let's just finish up and go. Like, let's just get out of here, you know? So like 10 minutes later, 5 minutes later, this guy walks up to me after I heard him screaming about us in a different room. And he's like, "Hey, you want some pizza?" And I'm like, what? Like, you want us to go, and now you're offering me pizza. And then he starts insisting that we eat his pizza. And I'm like, no. Like, I don't want any pizza. Thank you, though. Like, we're just going to keep filming, and then we're going to get out. I was like, no. Like, I want you to eat the pizza. I want you to eat the pizza. Like, you should eat this pizza. And I'm just like, oh my God. So I'm just like, all right, dude, I'll eat some pizza with you. You know? So like I sit down and like I sit at his table after he's like screaming and swearing in some different room. I'm just eating the pizza. I'm just like, yeah, it's good. Thank you. You know, like, it's uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm going to go back to work now. And then like 10 minutes later, he's screaming again about us still being there. So, and then he's got these dogs. He's letting the dogs run around the house, and he's got this blue heeler, and the blue heeler's like biting me as I'm trying to film. It's like nipping at my leg, like trying to herd me. Cause I guess that's the nature of a blue heeler. They just want to herd things. So like I'm filming in this house in this beautiful mansion being herded by a blue heeler. I'm like, your dog's biting me right now. Like, it was hilarious. It was so funny. And I love that I have that experience. It's just awesome. Hey, but the video turned out great. I don't have it posted. Oh, that's a whole nother story. Some realtor went to jail. I don't know. That's a whole nother podcast, the story, because my buddy ended up going back to that house because it hadn't sold, and there's some shady people. Someone's in jail for a really long time, and I'm not sure. I'm not that tied to that house or that situation to really understand it. But I heard there's just some shady stuff going on.
I'm kind of glad that you're not tied that deep into that property. Yeah. It sounds like it was a mess to begin with.
Yeah,
just a train wreck waiting to happen.
Oh, it was, man. But it was so fun. It's hilarious.
Nice. So. You got the experience, and you got to say that, hey, I work with real estate agents now. Rule number one, guys, do not have your lister or your seller not be in the property while they're filming this stuff. They're only going to cause problems.
Get them out of there. Get them out of there. Especially the millionaires, because they're a little weird, I think.
Cuckoo.
They're
Yeah,
a little
I
nuts.
feel that.
They're not really tied to reality, you know. They're millionaires. They can say and do whatever they want, you know. The guy's like, we're out this dude's driveway, right? And he grabs a hose. He's like, I want you to drink this hose water because it's coming from a well, an artesian well, thousands of feet below the ground. You got to taste this water. So we're just like, okay. So I grab the hose. I'm like, drinking the water. I'm like, oh, it's good water, man. Like, thank you.
Crisp from the mountains. This is amazing.
Thank you for that, sir. Yeah, that's funny.
Oh my gosh. Well, dude, this has been a pleasure, man. I feel like you really do capture a lot of the people's like emotion with the work that you do, the events, the music videos, everything about it. It seems like quality stuff. Like, man, I mean, I don't know the work, the blood, sweat, and tears behind it all, but I do know that you make a really great product. So, with that being said, man, much. I do want people to like reach out to you, but before that, like I want to give you the mic. I want to turn the tables over and have you interview me for maybe 2-ish questions. So if you got anything for me, anything at all, I would love to answer them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's an obvious one. What brought you to Colorado? And here's a two-parter. Like where in Colorado are you right now?
Yeah, for sure. So, I was born and raised in San Diego. I lived there for 30-ish years. And in 2020, my wife and I decided to move over to Denver because, number one, we were just, a lot of people tell us that you're insane for leaving San Diego. This is the best weather of all time. I mean, you only have 2 seasons, spring and summer, you know? Mm-hmm. And we were like, we have no idea what that means because we haven't tried anything else. You know, we haven't lived anywhere else. So we were like, okay, number one, it's just for a change of pace. And number two, we wanted to go to someplace beautiful. And my brother moved here previous and my parents are here as well. So at least we know some family here as well. And I think having that Denver scene be very similar to what San Diego's attitude is like. It's still really laid back, but you also get the Midwestern vibes of like the hospitality. I want to get to know you. So it was a really nice fit now that I've been here for 2.5 years, give or take. So, that was the main reason why. It's just a change of pace and going to a similar beauty area as San Diego. So I'm freaking loving this Denver scene.
Good. Yeah, I'm happy for you, man. Do you have you skied? Are you a skier? Snowboarder?
Yeah, I'm a snowboarder. And I did a whole bunch when I was over in the Big Bear area in LA, if you're familiar. It sounds like you were in LA for a little bit. So Big Bear, Mount High over in California. But over here in Colorado, to be honest, man, I haven't gone yet. It's just, I know, man. I feel like I'm doing an injustice here. But it is on my itinerary for this coming season for sure.
Okay, great. All right. Let me see if I have another question for you. I had one. Oh yeah. Okay. As a real estate agent, how do you set yourself apart from other real estate agents? Because I know it's competitive out here.
It is competitive, and I noticed that. So I myself am working with a real estate agent in the Estes Park area. So I'm actually looking for my next investment property over in that area just because it's a beautiful place. It's really close to Rocky Mountain National Park. And the reason why I want to work with someone else, even though I'm licensed in Colorado, is because they know the market way better than I do. And this person has been living there for like 10, almost 15 years, and they specialize in short-term rentals. The thing is that this agent is all they did was like set up an initial call with me. And they're like, great, I'll set you up on the criteria that you said, 2-bed, 1-bath, for $400,000 budget, and just sent me on my way. Never checked on me for the past 2 months. I was like, dude, like, is this really the standard for real estate agents? Like, if that's the case, then I'm about to shine right now, you know? So, like, I send out these weekly newsletters. I have a YouTube channel that features, home tours, and especially with that ideal client that I was mentioning you about, I work with house hackers, basically people that use the low money down, 5% down option, and then rent out each of the rooms to generate income on their primary residence. you know? So let's say even here in Denver, they got basements here. So you can live upstairs and have someone live downstairs and never have to see them, only in the driveway, you know?
Yeah.
So I verify like, hey, this is the potential income you can get. These are the leases that I use. I myself am a house hacker as well. So I live in the basement with my wife, and upstairs is operated as a short-term rental, as an Airbnb. So our mortgage is almost living, like we're living for free in our place. So I want other people to, like, I know with a lot of people, like their mortgage is like 30% or more of their income, you know?
Yeah.
Why not just eliminate that expense and have yourself live for free, and now you can save that 30% for a future expense or even your next investment property. So that's how I set myself apart. Like I have a YouTube channel, I have this podcast, like just getting people in the know with what's happening in Denver and getting people excited about it, you know?
Okay. Yeah. That's so cool. And also, I probably have some clients to send your way. They'll be looking
Genius, man.
Looking to move here or move within the state. So we'll have to talk about that afterwards.
I dig it, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate everything that you're doing here. I mean, this is something that a lot of people just need to know about. Like video is the thing nowadays, especially with like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Video is the best way to even connect with people. I mean, sure, audio is a great form, but this is going on YouTube because I know people like watching stuff, you know? Right. So, this is the next best thing, and the quality that you do set yourself apart from everyone trying to do video these days. So
thank you.
With that being said, man, yeah, of course. So with that being said, if people want to work with you, how do people reach out to you, Wil?
Yeah, you can go to my Instagram, you know, it's 80A.visuals on the old IG. You can go to my website, www.the80, the letter A, and the word visuals. We're doing a little reconstruction currently right now. You can go to my website, 80avisuals.com, and yeah, call me, 779-230-1189.
There you go. Can't wait for the spam,
plenty
man.
of ways.
Love it. And to be clear again, guys, it's 80A visuals. So I know that 80A, when I was searching on Google, I was like, this 8DA, like, I don't know what this is, but it's 80A. So just to be completely clear with you guys. So as for me, if you want to reach out to me, I'm ian.realestateagents on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I post up weekly videos, like I mentioned with Wil, like just providing a lot of value for my clients and for people that want to house hack in the Denver area. Let's get rid of your expense on the mortgage side, and let's get you generating that income and building that financial independence. I want to make you rich in the end. So with that being said, thank you so much, Wil, for being on the Invest in Denver podcast, featured by or produced by the FI team. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate it.
Dude, thank you so much. I had a blast.